Check this out. Hookers and Blow is on the cover of Rat Rod magazine. How freaking awesome is that? That is so cool. You guys don't know how exciting this makes me right here. That's just, oh. And then it gets even better than that. It's the centerfold too. Oh, man, that is so freaking awesome. You old guys, I'm an old guy. You old guys all remember before we had the internet, and you had like your 10 different magazine subscriptions that came every month, and you couldn't wait till you got the next one so you could see what was in it. And just to even think back then that, truck would be in something like that would just be mind-blowing, right? And here it is. It's on there. It's cool. Man. So totally not what I figured we'd be talking about in today's video, especially right off the bat, but we just got this earlier and I had to share. I think you guys all get it, I had to. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, you want to see the full thing, I won't put everybody through it now, but if you're interested, you want a magazine, you do have to go to ratrodmagazine.com to be able to get it. They don't do subscriptions, and they don't do the old school way of doing it at the grocery store and whatnot. You have to go to their website and buy it. But great magazine. It's got a bunch of other stuff in there as well besides Hookers and Blow, but it's got a great spread on Hookers and Blow, and it's an awesome magazine. We get one every month. There's all color, and I think there's like 3 ads or 4 ads in this whole entire magazine. So not like the old school way of doing magazines where it's all ads and garbage and all that. This is a great magazine and everything. Go check it out if you're even remotely interested, or if you want to see more about Hookers and Blow. Obviously, I guess you could go watch the whole build videos on it or whatever if you wanted to as well. But yeah, anyways, had to share with you guys because I thought it was way cool. But point of today's video, we're going to be back to work on the C50, which maybe that will end up in Rat Rod magazine as well once we're all said and done. So let's get over here and I'll kind of show you where we're at with that thing. All right, well, right off the bat, my voice is better than it was last week. It's still not 100% back to where it was, but fairly decent compared to where I was. So we'll just take what we can get for now. Hopefully next week we'll be back to 100% normal. But yeah, so our C50 build. Those that have been following along know what this is, but if you're new to the channel, this is our 1969 Chevy C50 that we've changed the cab over onto a motorhome chassis, and now we've got the cab all mounted up, and it's time to start figuring out our steering and our brakes. Now, this is our entry to the 2024 Rat Rod build-off for Rat Rod magazine, so that's why I was saying earlier, maybe this will be in there. Never know, so we'll see how things play out, but we got to get her done and built first before we can even think about anything like that. So, yeah, where we're at right now. We got steering, I think, pretty well figured out. We're going to find out here in a second. The steering box originally was mounted up here on the front of the frame, twisted and pointed up towards the sky. We cut that stuff all off. We've moved it, spun it down and around down here now to the frame, and hooked it up to the drag link and stuff that's underneath there using a C30 steering arm. So pretty well got that all figured out now. We did that in the last video. If you guys haven't followed along with any of this stuff, you can go back and look at all of it because we've got videos on everything we've done for the most part. So yeah, that was in our last video. So today I went ahead and had Connor pop the steering column out and clean up the rest of the stuff off the firewall here so that we can get started and go ahead and try to get our steering and brakes kind of situated and finished up here. So I did save the steering column out of the camper, and the steering column on the camper, hold on one second. The steering column on the camper had this little piece in there that has a little bit of a U-joint in it. And I think that's going to give us all we need to be able to hook our steering up onto this steering box. The original steering column that was in here was just a big straight shaft, and it came down here and didn't have any kind of bend on the end of it other than the rag joint, and I didn't want to put the angle that it was needing to hook it up onto that rag joint. I didn't want to put that much pressure on it, but I think with this little bad boy in there, it's going to work. I believe we're going to have to cut it and stretch it, but overall, I I think that's gonna work. So we'll go ahead and try to get the column in here in a second and see if we can make that work. But before that, we need to go ahead and work on the brakes since we got a little bit more excess in there to be able to get to everything. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, I guess. So I went out to Pfeiffer's and Auto Salvage here in town and found a brake booster off of, I think they said it was an 81 Chevy, C30, C20, something like that. And I've been kind of playing around with that a little bit, and I think that's going to be the right setup to be able to hook up everything on here and be able to use our booster pump and have, you know, hydro brakes and the whole 9 yards. So I think that's going to be the ticket. The only part of this is I'm not sure about yet is going to be the lines. We might end up having to have some stuff special made for lines because I think that this is higher. Of course, the other side of that is it's also farther forward. So maybe the height difference will not matter because we're farther forward. So just got to kind of put stuff together and start playing with it and see where we end up. So there is still this in here from the old brake booster or old master cylinder. So I got to get in there and get that off first. And then I want to go ahead and try to get this thing up there and see if we can make it actually bolt up to the firewall. Okay, so to get that rod out, we've got a bolt going through the arm here on the brake pedal. And get that out, then we'll be able to drop that rod and see if we can bolt that thing up. You guys can see the spot that I had to cut out of the firewall there. You can see the valve cover for the motor. I think that's all gonna work out pretty good. I've been thinking about this a little bit, and generally speaking, your gas pedal isn't too far away from the same height as your brake pedal, of course. And the brake pedal is generally right below the steering column. Well, since these trucks had a clutch in them, they moved the brake pedal over to the right side of the steering column and had the clutch on the left side. What am I doing here? So yeah, since they had a clutch in there, they had to move the brake pedal over, and then that put the gas pedal way over here to the middle. Anyways, I think when we're all said and done, we'll be able to bend the arm down here on the brake pedal and put it back over underneath the steering column where that usually is. And then I think on top of that box, we'll be able to put a style of brake pedal, gas pedal, like we used in Hookers and Blow and Old Crow and whatnot. All right, let's see what we got here. I know I'm gonna have to take these nuts off here eventually, but I wanna see if these holes line up to begin with. Ooh, they're close, but not quite there. Okay. That's pretty well junk. I think I can egg those out just a little bit and make that work. We're only, I'm gonna say about 1/8 of an inch or something like that from working. Okay, so I got the holes kind of egged out a little bit to where we can make that fit, and it's kind of just balanced in there right now at the moment. But I was able to now go inside there and look and see. It does look like the rod that comes with this Hydro Boost setup is going to be long enough to reach up there and attach to the brake pedal in the exact same spot as the other one was. I think that's going to work out good. So rather than trying to keep messing with this and its configuration right now, I think what I need to do is go ahead and just pull that little plate off the backside there and just start working with just the plate, since I think the rod's gonna end up working. So to get that off, if you guys haven't ever messed with one of these before, there's a snap ring and then there's a big giant nut. It's kind of rusty looking and kind of a pain to get on and off, but we'll see if we can't get that off of there and go from there. All right, of course, half of my stuff is at the other shop. More than half of my stuff is at the other shop, so I don't have a pair of snap ring pliers here. See what we can do without them. All right, now we need to get that big nut off of there, and I don't have anything to do that with either, so let me go digging. All right, so some lube would be good, of course. So I got starting fluid. That's as close as I got to anything to lube it with. Nothing else that at least cleans the threads. And then these are probably too small. Ooh, that stuff stinks. And these are probably too big. Yeah. Oh crap. So my only other option here at this building is a hammer. All right, I'm gonna have to go to the other shop and get the right tools. Some real WD-40 now instead of starting fluid. That'll help a little bit. I did try to find a wrench that would fit on here. I do have one. It's a 1 inch and 7/8 wrench that will fit on there, but I can't get it down in there to be able to turn it because of the way this little flange thing is. So an actual chisel and a ball peen hammer. We're gonna give it a shot and see what we got. Just like that. It's amazing what happens when you got the right stuff, and it's not even really that right of stuff. You just having it secure in a vise and a little bit better way to grab a hold on there. And there's our nut, and there's our plate. All right, so we've got our plate off. This is gonna be way easier to work with than that whole monstrosity. So go back over to the other shop now and make this fit. Well, that's way easier to deal with than having that whole hydro boost set up. Now we just need to figure out a way to mark this bad boy so that we can get some more bolts in it here. Let's see. Well, let's see how bad that turns out. to get that out of there a little bit more than that so we can get that bolt in. So I guess we need to go to the anvil, which I do actually have here. Back to the drill. Voila, that fits like a glove. So we're looking pretty good there now. I think at this point, I might as well go ahead and order a new booster, and then we can start messing around with some lines and whatnot and see if we can make any of that work. But I don't have a new booster today, so probably see that on the next video. I guess now we can move to the steering column. So onto the steering column. This is the one that was in there originally. Like I said, just straight shaft, and then it just bolted right up to the rag joint down there at the end. And it's got a nice steering wheel on it, but it's a little bit too big, and it's been welded on. So we're kind of, screwed at this point with this column, but I think that's a good thing. I think we're going to actually be able to use that to our advantage by using the one that's in, or was in, the camper. So this is the one that was in the camper. It's got tilt on it, so the tilt right off the bat almost makes it worth it just by itself. And then we've got that piece that I showed you earlier that has the little joint in it. That just slips on right there. I'll probably have to take a second to get it all lined up just right, but you get the idea. But it is just a little bit, of course this is tilted right now, but so yeah, there is a little bit difference in height there, but like I said, we can cut this shaft right there and stretch that, and that won't be that big of a deal to do. My only thing about doing that right now is I don't know for sure exactly where I want to put it, and that's because I don't have a seat that I have in there right now currently. I could put the original bench back in and set it up for that, but I want to have a different seat than the bench because I want something a little bit more comfortable for running up down the highway with, and I would also like to slide it back once we have the whole sleeper thing going on back here. So I won't be limited to just the space inside the cab with the new seat. So it's going to be kind of hard to actually set this thing up and get it to the point where I know it's going to be good until we have all of the sleeper and seat all in. So I don't know, I might just try to stick it on there for now and maybe just kind of tack it. I don't know, we'll see what happens here. I guess first thing we need to do is stick it in there and see if it's even going to work the way that I want to try to make it work. So the way this one was in there, it had this rubber piece around it, and we just popped this rubber piece off and had this collar. So I think we'll put this onto the new one, go ahead and slip it up in there and see what we've got. Guess there's one more boot down here. If I'm doing it, might as well go ahead and try to get that on there too so we can cap the floor off. It's old rubber, I don't want to probably push on it too much here, so I think I'll just cut the end of this column off. It's pretty well junk anyways. That's obviously way too close to the dash, so we need to slide this thing back. Good enough for now. Let's look out here and see how we're looking on the backside. This obviously still needs it to come out, but to be able to do that, there's some stuff in the way. So, all right, let's see what we got. Get that kind of stuck on there a little bit. So that joint definitely gives us enough angle to go ahead and get it bolted down on there. But we do need to extend it, obviously. And the angle's still a little jacked up, but I think it will help if the column is farther up in there. Maybe. Or maybe I need to notch the floor a little bit here and let the column go down just a hair more. Again, it's kind of hard to tell without knowing exactly where we need to set everything, so I don't know, but I think we're on the right track. It looks like we should be able to make something work here with all of this, so I guess that's about as far as we can go with that at the moment. All right, let's check this out a little bit. So now there you can kind of see that column is way too close to the dash. That's not gonna work. But it is nice that it's got the tilt, so we can kind of adjust it a little bit there with that. But yeah, this gap is just way too close. I can get my hand in there barely, so that's not gonna work. You guys can also kind of see down here now what I was talking about with the brake pedal earlier. The brake pedal just kind of leans that way a little bit. They've kind of got a little bit of a bend in it. We don't want to bend it much, but I think if we bend it back this direction, about the same amount that it's leaning that way right now, that will give us plenty of room over here beside it for a gas pedal. So honestly, there's probably enough room in there now for a gas pedal, but I'm just being picky because I got these big 13 size boots that are always in the way of everything, and it's hard to keep from, two-stepping pedals in a lot of vehicles when I'm wearing boots. So I don't want to have any problems like that in here. There's no reason for it. So just a little bit of bending and moving, and I'll have plenty of room for the old 13 to fit in there, no problem. So that's what we're going for. Oh yeah, another thing real quick. You guys see me earlier, go ahead and cut the arm off the steering column there for the shifter. I don't want the shifter to be on the steering column anymore. I want it to be on the floor, kind of like it was originally. So it still has that big truck feel. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go out to my buddy Ted's that we did some blacksmithing out a while back. He wants to show us how to make some dragons and wizards and whatnot with his blacksmithing skills. It's stuff that he made a lot when he was doing that on the road all the time. So I think that would be pretty badass if we went out to his place and yeah, he taught us how to do something like that, and we used it as a shifter here in the truck. So that's going to be my plan for that sometime here in the near future, hopefully. All right, so it's been a while since we did an update on the budget and where we're at with everything. So I had Julie put some numbers together for us so we would have our new running total of where we're at exactly on this build.
Yeah, he called me in. I'm happy to do it. So, but I need to catch up with you on where we're at. The last time you talked about numbers.
So last time we talked about numbers, I think it's been a minute. So we had the truck for 500.
It was 500. The RV was 105, and you picked up the pipes from Gert's Rat Works for $100.
So that was that's 705.
705. That was a video a while back.
Yep.
Since then, you did another video where you picked up the other cabs, because we're turning Hank here into a sleeper. So, and you're wanting to build that, and you went out to Piper's and you picked up that stuff.
Yeah, so we've got the sheet metal for the cabs / sleeper, and then we also have sheet metal to build the bed for the trailer.
That's right. We bought a trailer that was made out of a Chevy truck bed that's gonna work.
A pickup bed trailer that we bought from Skylar, and then we bought another bed and fenders and stuff to keep working on the trailer side of things. So
lots of tin, lots of stuff to make.
We basically now have the body panels to be able to make everything that we want to make. We still need some new material to be able to fill in some of the gaps and make some of the stuff from scratch, but
we got a good start, and you did talk about that in a previous video. Maybe we can put a link to that video if you haven't seen that one yet, but you did not talk about the running total. And it was 350 from bodies from Piper's and another 200 on the other 10 that we got from the pickup bed trailer and stuff like that. So 550 is where we're at on that. And you bought headers at a swap meet.
Mm-hmm.
Those are on there now. I understand. I'm sorry. They fit. They work. I didn't think they were gonna clear, but they did.
Cleared just fine.
They're perfect. I was wrong.
And then we bought some stuff at an auction that had a $1 box that happened to have our header gaskets and a bunch of other stuff in it.
So we got gaskets for $1.
I mean, technically we could have wrote off everything else that was in the box for more than that, but
whatever. And I got a bill for a hose for $3. I asked you where's the $3, and you said it was
fuel line.
The fuel hose. So there's that. But also we bought a pitman arm and some brake lines and a Hydro Boost.
Yep, just ordered the Hydro Boost today.
Got that, and that's gonna have a core price come back out or whatever. But we were talking about those things, and technically, not even really technically, that is officially safety stuff. And in Rat Rod Magazine's rules, they say safety doesn't count towards your budget. And there's just no doubt that steering and brakes are safety features. It's not something that's making Hank cool. It's making Hank not kill us, which is cool. I like that. But
she keeps saying Hank. We did put out there in a video that the truck's name is now Hank.
Oh yeah.
And some of you might have missed that because not a lot of people watch that video.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He found I don't know, got the little tag around here that a guy who worked on the RV at one time, his name was Hank.
We'll just put a link up right here to that video, and then go watch that video.
And then go watch that video, because
if you haven't already watched it.
It's a fun story, so yes, this is now officially Hank. So I'm sorry that I was throwing that out there. I forgot that that's a new thing. We've been calling him Hank around here for a while, but anyway, we bought spark plugs. That was almost $17, and I have a fuel pump for $30. Fuel pump could also be argued as a safety thing, but it's $30, so I'm not going to nitpick too much. It's fine.
Yep, we're good.
It's all a good thing. So our running total, $13.41, one for that gasket that you got. So we're doing good.
We're doing good, yeah. And we do have some stuff that's a little pricey left to get, mostly our air ride stuff.
Yeah, we've got airbags and
that's
stuff
not
like
going to be
that.
the end of the world, so.
It's not, since we were doing so good. But, and then there's always those no-see-ums, those little things that come up that bite you that you weren't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But so far so good on all of that. We haven't had any of that yet.
And subs and amp and all that stuff.
And the air conditioning. Air conditioning before subs and amps.
We'll see.
Yeah. I really would like air conditioning, but we'll see how it goes. That's a budget.
Excuse me.
Thing. Okay, so that's it. Hours?
Hours, we are at 53 hours. which is
That's nothing.
kind of sad since we've had this in here for a couple months.
We have been really, really busy with other stuff.
Yeah, it's
We need
crazy.
to up the hours on this if we're going to get it done. It's getting kind of scary. I'm getting kind of stressed.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not worried about it.
Yes.
He never does. He never stresses. You know, when we were building hookers and blow for that build off, I was bouncing off the walls stressed that we weren't going to get done in time. And he's like, cool. He's got it. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Sure, we were up till 4 a.m. the day before we had to leave, but
It'll
it
be
was fine. We made it.
We got there.
It was fine. So, you know, I'm just going to have to trust him because I don't have the energy to stress about it too much. We got way too many other irons in the fire to worry about that.
Plenty of stuff for you to stress over. You don't have to worry about this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're rambling here.
We are. I'm sorry.
I guess.
If you're still here, thank you. Like and subscribe.
They probably already have if they're still here at this point.
We do
Anyways,
appreciate you watching. We really do.
yeah, we do. Appreciate you guys. And I guess we'll see you next Wednesday at 7.
Bye.
Later.